In the mid-20th century, Jimmy Hoffa emerged as one of the most powerful and controversial figures in American labor history. Born in 1913 in Indiana, Hoffa grew up in a working-class family and quickly developed a deep understanding of the struggles of the American worker. His charisma, determination, and bold leadership would later catapult him to the helm of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, one of the largest and most influential labor unions in the United States. By the 1950s, Hoffa had gained a reputation for being both fiercely protective of his union members and unflinchingly ruthless in negotiations with employers. His leadership style was a combination of charm, intimidation, and relentless ambition. Hoffa believed in the power of unions to transform the lives of workers, yet his methods often drew scrutiny. Allegations of mob connections, bribery, and corruption followed him closely, painting a complex picture of a man whose influence stretched far beyond the labor movement. Hoffa's rise in the Teamsters coincided with a period of rapid industrial expansion in America. Trucking, warehousing, and construction were booming, and the Teamsters were at the center of it all. Hoffa's skill in organizing strikes and negotiating favorable contracts made him immensely popular among union members, yet it also attracted the attention of law enforcement and rival power brokers. The FBI, under the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, considered Hoffa a dangerous figure, associating with organized crime and seeking to curtail his influence. By the 1960s, Hoffa had solidified his position as the national leader of the Teamsters. His tenure was marked by both spectacular successes and mounting controversies. He managed to secure pension funds, health benefits, and improved working conditions for thousands of workers. However, Hoffa's connections with organized crime were undeniable. Mobsters provided him with financial support and muscle to maintain his control over the union, while Hoffa, in turn, helped facilitate their interests within the labor movement. This symbiotic relationship brought him wealth, power, and enemies alike. The 1960s also brought Hoffa into direct conflict with the government. The U.S. Department of Justice launched investigations into corruption, fraud, and embezzlement within the Teamsters. In 1967, Hoffa was convicted of jury tampering, attempted bribery, and fraud. He was sentenced to 13 years in prison, a dramatic fall for a man who had wielded so much influence. Despite his incarceration, Hoffa remained determined to regain control of the Teamsters. He envisioned a return to power that many feared would upset the delicate balance between unions and organized crime. By 1971, after serving 5 years of his sentence, Hoffa was released from prison under a commutation by President Richard Nixon. But a cloud of restrictions shadowed his freedom. He was legally barred from engaging in union activities until 1980. This restriction, however, did not dampen Hoffa's ambitions. Behind the scenes, he began maneuvering to reclaim his position, carefully planning his comeback and reaching out to old allies and enemies alike. Then, on the afternoon of July 30th, 1975, Jimmy Hoffa mysteriously disappeared. He was last seen outside the Machu's Red Fox restaurant in suburban Detroit, where he had arranged to meet with two reputed mob figures. Hoffa never returned home. His car remained parked. His body was never found, and the restaurant staff reported seeing nothing unusual. What followed was a frenzy of speculation, conspiracy theories, and investigations that would span decades. Law enforcement immediately launched an extensive search. The FBI questioned known mob associates, Hoffa's colleagues, and even his family members, but no credible leads emerged. Some claimed that Hoffa had been killed by the mafia, possibly as retribution for trying to regain union control without their blessing. Others theorized that he had staged his own disappearance, seeking to escape legal troubles and start a new life under a different identity. Over time, rumors placed Hoffa in various locations, buried under stadiums, incinerated in remote furnaces, or hidden in secret government facilities. Each theory seemed to attract as much intrigue as the last, yet no definitive evidence ever surfaced. The Hoffa disappearance captivated the American public. It became the quintessential unsolved mystery, a story of ambition, power, and betrayal. Newspapers, books, and documentaries examined every facet of his life, from his humble beginnings to his controversial leadership and alleged mob ties. Jimmy Hoffa became a symbol of the thin line between legitimate labor advocacy and organized crime, illustrating the complexities of power in America. Over the years, numerous individuals claimed knowledge of Hoffa's fate, from mobsters to law enforcement insiders, yet none provided verifiable evidence. Some of these accounts were dismissed as fabrications. Others were tantalizingly detailed but unverifiable. Despite decades of investigation, Hoffa's disappearance remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. In reflecting on Jimmy Hoffa's life and disappearance, it is clear that he was more than just a union leader. He was a figure who embodied both the promise and peril of ambition. His dedication to workers' rights transformed the Teamsters and the labor movement. Yet his entanglements with criminal elements painted a cautionary tale of power unchecked. The question of what truly happened to Jimmy Hoffa endures, inviting speculation, intrigue, and endless fascination. His story reminds us that some mysteries are not meant to be solved, and that the line between hero and villain often blurs in the shadows of history. Even today, nearly 50 years later, the world continues to speculate. Movies, television shows, and books keep the Hoffa legend alive, ensuring that his life, work, and mysterious disappearance will never be forgotten. Whether he was murdered in cold blood, disappeared voluntarily, or met a fate no one could imagine, Jimmy Hoffa's legacy is cemented as one of the most compelling stories of 20th century America, a narrative of ambition, power, loyalty, and the haunting question, what really happened to Jimmy Hoffa?